We're investing a lot of time and effort right now in addressing how that duplication happens in design process. Right now, we've noticed that headless implementations fall down when you're dealing with design teams who create customer experiences in, say, Figma, but then they are implying a content model that doesn't exist, or that exists and gets duplicated multiple times. So this happens in organizations. In fact, we have a client who has dozens of product teams, and each one of the product teams creates separate designs for their products in Figma, totally separately. And when they need to get those shipped, it goes to the CMS team, who builds out a new space and a new model for each one of those things, which might even be duplicated within one product team, let alone across all of them. So the amount of hairball that creates is enough to choke a cat. Like, you need to have a content model that lets knowledge breathe. And part of that is by making sure that it's wired and connected together, not living in these silos of duplication. And so we're looking at building tools for Figma plugins and tools for content models able to be shared within an enterprise and visible and managed, so that there are ways to make sure that those things don't get duplicated when the designer can see, here's the elements that already exist, and I can pick from those inside of Figma. Or the person building the schema can look inside of the schema source of truth and say, oh, here's the elements that already exist, right? And you can use a headless as that as well. If you've got a business process around it, you can use the content model inside a headless as a source of truth. But when you start mapping that into multiple systems, you need some source of truth for the mappings, for the way that all of that works together. So we work on content orchestration models and helping organizations build these content services organizations. And part of that involves really a lot of dialogue. One of the biggest things you get when you invest in enterprise-wide content models is you get teamwork between silos. We believe in silos. Silos are necessary, and they're not going away, and we're not going to blow them up or anything like that. We're going to connect them and get them working well together in an orchestrated approach. What that means is listening as well as offering support and enablement and capabilities that help the silos. So if you get in the way of the silos, you get in the way of marketing's ability to deliver customer experiences this quarter, they're not going to want to be your friend, because they need to be able to meet their quarterly objectives. But if you can empower them to do that, to get those campaigns done in a faster way, that's more aligned and gives them external resources, right? That's the model we really like to see in content services organizations, is helping to empower all the other teams with additional resources and capabilities that are being offered into them from a unified budget. The way that they care is they get goodies out of it, and they get to participate in the process in a way that they influence, so that they're influencing the content model. They're not having to just get the content model from on high. They're able to participate in a dialogue so how you do this stuff matters. When you empower it and you make it something that's actually beneficial to everybody to enroll in, and they influence everybody else because of their participation in the model, they're actually motivated to do it. And then if you give them tools, right, that align their designers with the model without getting in their way, and you give them ways of thinking about it with just like internal marketing, then people really can start to work in totally new ways. So it's a unity process, and that's one of the things that I really believe is one of the biggest Gestalt kind of outcomes, the biggest collective or system-wide outcomes of investing in an enterprise content model, is a shared dialogue that happens between stakeholders, not just in silos, but within digital teams across the stack, between designers, developers, content engineers, content strategists, content designers. They're all people who need to share a language, and there's a language of structure and a language of semantics. We can help them by being conscious about that. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to catch the latest episodes. Check out all the content on simpleA.com. And until we meet again, Let's take one step at a time towards a smarter world.